Hello, everyone. My name is Jess, and welcome to my little talk for today. Since this is my first kind of thingy that I'm doing here, I'd like to explain who I am, what I do. Also, I think my teeth just cracked there, whatever. My teeth, whatever, something cracked. I'm a 17-year-old girl from the Netherlands, and I am currently kind of stuck inside of my home. Not really stuck, it's just I don't have school the next week because of the whole corona situation. And I thought about discussing some things, not totally related to that issue, but I mean, partially. I like ranting about politics because it's funny, but please, to dear God, don't believe that it's like it's just a game, you know? It's taking it seriously is really hard because sometimes you gotta wonder, like, if I take it seriously, right? If I take these politics seriously, do the politics even take me seriously? Think about that. That depends on your country, of course, but I mean, if I think politics can be cool. I think it's funny sometimes, and also love laughing at it. It's a very broad comedy in various genres, from serious to hilarious, and sometimes just very neutral. But what I'd like to talk about today is how to deal with issues, since I quite honestly see so many people handling things in the wrong way, which always end up hurting themselves more or the people around them. Now, I don't always have the best examples when I'm talking about these things. But for example, I made a mistake a few days ago where I sometimes laugh at the things I get bothered over, because if there's one thing that I really like to reflect on is what bothers me and how I deal with it and why it has bothered me and how I should let go. Because quite frankly, there's a lot of things that if you bother about, like, that you get bothered by it, it adds up to your stress level. And letting go and coming back to your centered self and the needs that you really have is going to do you way more good than trying to solve a situation you have no control over. Now, the situation I have or had was a school project, and I like keeping it all relatable because, I mean, I'm 17, I'm going through teenager things, and dealing with those things can be tough. I've gotten quite good at it since I have, as people would say, stopped giving fucks, which to some may seem like really rude, or I can be an upfront person to some. Someone just said that I had no regarding for other people's feelings, which I found really funny because what I was doing in that situation was trying to make everyone quiet down. I'm also sorry for the background noises. I live in a house where people live and do stuff. Sorry if that bothers you. Now, the issue I had was where I was in a group project. Now, I had not shown up twice for one of the lessons, and these two other people in my team told me, hey, the teacher just pulled us apart because of your absence. This was before a carnival holiday that we have in the Netherlands to celebrate the carnival. Now, it's not Brazilian carnival. I mean, I wish, but it's not. There's no beautiful, I mean, everyone's beautiful. I mean, there's no sexy ladies in barely any clothing running down the streets with colorful feathers surrounding them. Is that what Brazilian carnival is like? I'm probably totally wrong. But alright. Now, the issue was that I got kicked out of the group. Now, it was the holiday, so the whole week I did not care. I was like, hey, this is a good time to train that ability of mine to forget about this kind of bullshit, since I have a 1 week holiday. I don't have to worry about anything. And, you know, when I get back to school, I can just focus on it then, and then try to solve the issue. Because you can't solve an issue if you're not in the situation where you have to solve it. Like, I was nowhere near the capability of solving that thing. I was inside of my room, away from school. These people were not around me. At least the people that were mentioned. Now, I was kicked out with another person. The way he reacted was appropriate for the way he looks at things and does things. He got upset, and I get that. That's perfectly normal. He wrote an email, and I thought it was pretty neutral, but when we came back to school, the teacher said it was a bit rude, but I just said, like, he asked me, do you want me to add a part that is, kind of what you say, so we don't have to send separate emails? And I just said, hey, I would like to have a talk when I'm back at school about the situation. I said nothing else. No opinions. No, I hate this. It's awful. I just said, can we have a talk? And I thought that it was a good idea if she was a mediator. Now, the funny thing is, I had misspoken saying that, because what I was told was that she pulled us apart. And quite frankly, I said that she was going to be the mediator, but if she pulled us apart and we need another mediator. Is that the word when the person that helps to control the situation as a mediator? Because that's what I was told in primary school, but that's probably wrong. I mean, schools just say stuff sometimes. It's better to read the books. But are the books true? Ooh. I mean, some things are just common sense. So, okay. Moving on. So we sit there in the classroom. It's like a week later. We were already in class, right? School started again. And we weren't talking about it. We were all behaving like friends. And at some point, something slips. And, like, first I see a comment coming from the guys who told us we were pulled apart. That was kind of degrading, in a way. Kind of poking fun at us. And I was like, hey, that doesn't make sense. The way he said it was like, it hinted at a tone of there's more behind this. And I didn't think about it because I hate overthinking and I do it a lot. So I was like, I'm not going to do it anymore. But quite frankly, the universe puts little flags everywhere for you to notice, which are incredibly small, but they're still there. And when you notice them, or at least when you find out that they were there at the end, you're like, what the fuck? So sorry for swearing. I do that. I know it's not the best way of telling my stories because, yeah, sorry, my chair creaks. It's just, I'm not against swearing. I mean, I do it myself a lot, but I sometimes feel like it doesn't really add anything to the things I say. So why should I talk about things with swear words in it, I mean, they're fun. Like when you get hurt, you're like, oh, fuck, or at other moments. Now, oh God, I lost track. I hate when that happens. I have a horrible memory, except for like things that taught me stuff, I guess. I don't know how brains work. They're very interesting, but I don't know, I truly think that the spirit is sometimes the same as the brain, but also not. Like, I need to figure that stuff out, but time will teach. Now, moving on. All right, so that weird thing he said, right? And at some point, my ego catches the best of me because I hear that those two guys actually pulled us apart with the teacher, not the teacher on her own. And I go, you fucking piece of shit. And I'm like, why did I say that? And I'm like, oh God, I panicked because that inner piece of shit, that ego, that trying to be better than people, that thing that the typical human that lets their emotions take control of me, that happened. I felt really ashamed. So I was like, sorry, okay, let's just talk about it. Which seemed like I had a fucking identity crisis because I went from, oh, you fucking pieces of shit, to, yeah, let's talk about it. Not entirely the best way to go about a situation like that, but now, sorry, my mind doesn't really work the way it's supposed to sometimes. Okay, there's so many things to talk about in this world. This is just like 0.00001% of the things I want to talk about. But all right, so we have a talk and everything. What's happening? Ooh, sorry, weird noises. Now, during the conversation, my teammate, which was kicked out with me, I see that the emotions get the best of him, but I just sit there with my arms behind my back, but my neck, head. That position where you look all cool and shit? I did that. Now, funny thing is, I saw one of the guys who kicked us out laughing, and like, I don't know if he was not taking it seriously. I mean, I was just smiling like I always do. Sorry, I'm playing with some shit. I don't know. It's like a glasses cleaning thing. I get distracted too, don't worry. You're not the only one. Now, I just sat there, and in the end, like, I realized that through the whole situation, I actually gave myself a pat on the back. I was already thinking ahead. I was thinking, what are we going to do next? Since the project has fallen apart, can we just get a new direction to do it in? Because I just did not agree with the plan in the first place. I just said, give me some directions and I'll follow it up. And I got no texts. What did I say? Context? No, I got no context to the things that they said. So I was like, what do you want me to do? And, in the end, like, I just said, like, I'm a chess piece on the board. You direct what I do, unless I'm working on my own. Like, if I'm working on my own, then I can just do it exactly the way I want. If I'm working in a team, you're going to have to tell me how to do everything. And yeah, that's annoying. And I always hear people, yeah, but you can work on that. You can become a manager. You can do this. And I'm like, what if that's not what I want? People are always trying to shove things in your faces about how good you could be when, quite frankly, I'm already the best I am at the moment. So if I wanted to improve in that area, then I would. But that's not my desire. Yeah, no, it's not. Like, just making people do things for me. It's I've never even had someone cooperate with me, so I'm not sure if I could even put something like that into practice. Yeah. So now, how could you put the situation into, like, reflection mode? So how do I think? Well, first of all, the universe was giving me little flags, calling the teacher the mediator, which she in the end was. Even though I thought she was the one who pulled us apart at first, because that's the messages we got. But it was the boys that pulled us apart. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I learned from that once again, please don't trust college students too much, especially if you see that something's not going well. Please just on time say that. Don't feel afraid to offend people if they're not doing their job. Because if they get offended, instead of putting down proof that they actually did something, that means they're not doing anything. And I know school isn't, like, a very big spiritual thing. Like, quite frankly, it's not adding too much to my life. Like, yeah, the theory is nice, and I'm doing marketing, by the way. It's really nice because you learn the psychology behind how to trick people into buying things, and that's literally why I came there. Right now, it's still kind of boring, but that's when you start focusing on the things around you and the way people behave. And last year, I was in sort of a rehab high school where you just get a certificate/diploma in 1 year, since I came from a bit of you have 3 different levels of education in the Netherlands. You can look them up. I've just called them like lower, mid, and high. High being university, lower being vocational. But I always feel like that makes us look really stupid, while the studies that are offered at lower level are, like I do, marketing communication, junior account manager, retail manager. Like, there's a lot of management happening in that section. So if you ever feel like, hey, oh my god, y'all are so stupid, please don't judge them. Like, I don't care what you say about me, but I know some people can get offended about that. But I mostly just sit here like, okay, well, cool, that's if you're gonna think I'm stupid, that's okay, since, well, I mean, theory-wise and, like, on maybe the job market, I might seem very stupid. Like, my talents are useless. Oh, you can draw? Well, good for fucking you, but can you sell a car? That's kind of the mentality that the job market can go for. And yeah, you can make money off of your talents, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people will never believe that, and that's really bad for their mental state. Because if there's something you're good at, put it into practice and get better at it, But alright, time to go back at what else I reflected. Yeah, also the little remarks here and there. Like, listen, people are really transparent. Not always, unless they're aware, because then they can, like, really fuck around with that transparency and turn it into full opacity. Now, what I think is important in situations is to keep your calm and cool. Be more mature than your opponents and look at the situation from a higher state. Pause it. Because when you're filling yourself with emotions, you're playing everything in fast forward without thinking. And it's going to harm you and the people around you. And you might think, how did it hurt me? You're overthinking about it right now. That's what's hurting you. You could have been making music, playing video games, or just spending your time and creativity on something else. Now, if there is one thing that I can tell everybody for sure, it's hard to perfect it. It's really hard. Like, I don't meditate, but I really want to learn how to do that. And I've heard that meditating really helps with like ascending in this sort of area of coping with problems and issues. And I'm definitely going to be talking about more experiences I have, because dear God, like I told you, I made the mistake. Like I let the ego get the better of me when I said, "You fucking idiots," you know? So don't be afraid to make mistakes, but also don't be afraid to learn, because that's where the mistakes are. That's where you realize who you really are. And it can be painful sometimes to realize how awful the world is. But that's the thing. Once you realize what exactly is awful, you realize how many things are beautiful, and it just takes over. Like, yeah, there's a lot of crap happening right now. Considering the whole corona thing, I'm not even going to touch on that in this thing because it's going to get too long. But what I do think is that if you really only focus on things like corona or death or fucking wars, you're gonna realize a lot of things as well if you focus on it. Like, you really like focus, not just sit there and be like, oh, I hate war, it's so bad, people die. Like, the moment you look at the reasons why it happens and everything and dig deeper, you're gonna be like, oh wow, really? Like, then you're gonna realize that's not where the ugliness is found. It's not found in the happening, it's in what people think, and it's what in people do, in people trying to achieve something that they shouldn't be achieving because it doesn't give them any spiritual gratification but only material gratification. So yeah, I hope you have a great day. I'm done talking about this topic now. Some might be longer, some might be longer, some might be shorter. It all depends on stuff. But wherever you are, what time zone, when you're watching this video, I believe you're gonna have an amazing day if you just believe in it. Lots of love.